Hello, and welcome to Morning Hour Chapel's Holy Week video for Wednesday. You deserve a break today. That was the tagline of McDonald's from 1971 through the mid-1990s. It was simple, it was memorable, it was hummable. Commercials themselves used to be called station breaks or commercial breaks. Advertisers didn't want you to get tired of paying attention to television shows, so they gave you a break to rest your brain. Of course, while you were resting your brain, they were manipulating it to try to sell you something, like Big Macs. But human beings need breaks. We need rest. We need time to step away from the busyness of life and recharge. Even in our time over the last several weeks, my family and I have discovered that sometimes we need breaks from each other while we're being sequestered in our own home to try to lessen the severity of the coronavirus. Right now, I'm sitting out on our deck, which is where I like to relax, either alone or with my family on a nice night. Now, one of the realities of Jesus is that he was fully human. He needed to eat, he needed to bathe, he needed to rest. And when Jesus entered Jerusalem on what we know as Palm Sunday, he did a lot of work. He cleansed the temple of the money changers and merchants who were trying to cheat the poor. He was tested by the chief priests and the other religious leaders. And he taught a lot. Over the course of 2 days, Jesus did a tremendous amount of teaching. He shared parables with the people. He spoke out against the scribes and the Pharisees. He talked at length about the end times. He wept over the city of Jerusalem and its future. Jesus did anywhere from 30 to 40% of all his teaching, all 3 years worth of his teaching, in these 2 days, according to the gospel writers. Now, the Wednesday of Holy Week is traditionally known as Silent Wednesday. As we read the Gospels, it is apparent that Jesus spent from Tuesday night through Thursday morning in a town called Bethany, about 2 miles outside of Jerusalem. And we read in Matthew 26, verses 6 through 12. Now when Jesus was at Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, a woman came up to him with an alabaster flask of very expensive ointment, and she poured it on his head as he reclined at table. And when the disciples saw it, they were indignant, saying, "Why this waste? For this could have been sold for a large sum and given to the poor." But Jesus, aware of this, said to them, "Why do you trouble the woman? For she has done a beautiful thing to me. For you always have the poor with you, but you will not always have me. In pouring this ointment on my body, she has done it to prepare me for burial. Truly I say to you, wherever this gospel is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her." Now in the book of John we learn that the woman was Mary, the sister of Martha and Lazarus, who Jesus had raised from the dead. We also read that instead of the disciples complaining about her wasting the ointment, it was actually Judas Iscariot who spoke up. But Jesus' response was the same. He said, "You will always have the poor with you, but she is preparing me for death." Now this is the only interaction we see Jesus having with anyone during his time in Bethany. We do read that this is probably the time when Judas planned with the Pharisees to betray Jesus. But Jesus spent the time laying low, and we can assume resting. And I think sometimes we don't realize it. But Jesus needed that rest. Because that Wednesday night would be the last time that Jesus would ever sleep again. By Friday morning, he would hang on a cross. Tomorrow is Thursday. Church tradition calls it Maundy Thursday, and tomorrow we'll learn why. Until then, may God give you comfort and rest as we approach the cross of Christ. God bless you.